Long ago, on a warm summer's morning, the river flowed gently through a quiet forest. The water sparkled in the golden sunlight, and the air was filled with the hum of insects and the soft rustling of leaves. On the bank of that river lived a tiny ant, one of many from a bustling colony nearby. She was small, so small that she could be overlooked in an instant, but her heart was full of energy and determination. Like all ants, she worked tirelessly. From sunrise to sunset, she searched for crumbs, grains, or seeds to carry back to her family. On this particular day, she walked along the edge of the river, her eyes sharp and her legs steady. But the path was narrow and slippery. Moss covered the stones and the soil was loose from the morning dew. As she hurried forward, her tiny foot slipped. In a blink, she tumbled into the rushing water. The current was strong, much stronger than she could ever imagine. The little ant thrashed about, her legs kicking frantically, but the water pulled her further and further away from the safety of the land. She cried out, "Help! Help!" Her voice was so faint, almost too small for anyone to hear, but her heart screamed with all its strength. High above, on a tall tree leaning over the river, a pigeon sat peacefully. The pigeon had pure white feathers that glowed under the morning light, and eyes that shone with quiet wisdom. She was resting after a long flight, enjoying the calmness of the forest. But when she tilted her head, she noticed something unusual, a tiny figure struggling desperately in the water below. The pigeon leaned forward, her heart moved with compassion. She could see that the small creature was an ant, helpless against the current. Without hesitation, the pigeon plucked a broad green leaf from the branch. With careful aim, she dropped it into the river, just near the ant. The leaf floated like a small boat, drifting steadily toward the tiny struggler. The ant, gasping and exhausted, saw the leaf and scrambled aboard. At last, she was safe. The leaf carried her gently to the shore, where she climbed onto dry land, trembling but alive. She lifted her tiny head and looked up at the pigeon. Her heart was full of gratitude, more than words could ever express. "Thank you, kind pigeon," the ant whispered. "You saved my life. Without you, I would have been lost forever." The pigeon cooed softly, her sound as warm as a smile. She nodded gently, as if to say, "You are welcome, little one. May you live in peace and safety." From that day forward, the ant never forgot the pigeon's kindness. She thought about it often as she went about her daily work. Every crumb she carried back to the nest reminded her of the gift of life she had been given. She wondered silently, how can I, so small and powerless, ever repay such a great act of kindness? Time passed, the seasons turned, the river flowed on as always. The pigeon returned often to the same tree, finding rest and shade among its branches. The ant, too, continued her busy life, never forgetting the bird who had saved her. One afternoon, the forest was unusually quiet. The sun was beginning to set, casting long golden beams through the leaves. The pigeon sat once again on her favorite branch, preening her feathers and enjoying the warmth of the fading light. She felt safe, high above the ground, watching the river below. But danger was near. Not far away, a man crept silently through the forest. He was a hunter, carrying a bow in his hand and arrows in a quiver across his back. His eyes were sharp, and when they fell upon the pigeon, they gleamed with cruel delight. "What a fine bird," he thought. "I will capture her today." He moved slowly, step by step, careful not to make a sound. The pigeon, lost in her calm, did not notice the danger that approached. The hunter raised his bow, pulled back the string and aimed carefully at the beautiful white bird. Down on the forest floor, the ant was wandering nearby, searching for food once again. Her antennae twitched and she looked around. That was when she saw the hunter. She followed his eyes and gasped when she realized what he was aiming at, her dear friend, the pigeon. Her tiny heart raced. "Oh no, the pigeon is in danger. She saved my life once. Now it is my turn to save hers." Though she was small, the ant did not hesitate. She ran as fast as her little legs could carry her. She crawled quickly up the hunter's shoe, then onto his bare ankle. With all the strength she could muster, she gave him a sharp, painful bite. The hunter shouted, "Ouch!" and stumbled backward. His bow slipped from his hand, the arrow falling harmlessly to the ground. He clutched his foot, distracted by the sudden pain. At that very moment, the pigeon sensed movement. She spread her wings and soared into the sky, flying far beyond the hunter's reach. Her feathers shone as she rose higher and higher, safe once again. When she looked down, she saw the tiny ant on the ground. In that instant, she understood what had happened. The little ant, the creature she had once saved, had now saved her in return. The pigeon's eyes sparkled with gratitude. She circled in the air, cooing a song of thanks that echoed softly through the forest. The ant stood proudly, her antennae raised as if to say, "Now we are even, my friend. Your kindness has been repaid." From that day on, the bond between the ant and the pigeon was sealed forever. Though one was small and the other large, though one walked on the ground and the other flew in the sky, their friendship was unbreakable. Each knew that kindness, no matter how small, always finds its way back. The story of the ant and the pigeon spread quietly among the creatures of the forest. They whispered it to one another. Never underestimate the smallest of friends. Even the tiniest creature can perform a great act of kindness. And now, dear listener, this story belongs to you as well. Think about the ant and the pigeon. What do they teach us? The moral is simple: a good deed is never wasted. Kindness given will return in unexpected ways. Perhaps today you helped someone, even in a small way, with a smile, a kind word, or a gentle act. You may not know it yet, but your kindness can change someone's day or even save a life. And if you feel small or unimportant, remember the ant. She was tiny, almost invisible in the vast forest, yet her courage and gratitude saved the life of a great bird. Never believe that your actions are too small to matter. They matter more than you know.